Hey y'all, welcome back to Daydream Manor Flower Farm. I'm Dawn. I live in Zone 8B in South Louisiana. All right, welcome to the kitchen. Y'all, it's hot as Hades outside and I wasn't gonna do this in the stem shed, so I'm like, let's go back into the kitchen. All right, today's video is a little bit different than what we normally talk about because over the past few months, I've had 3 people reach out to me and say, hey, I'm thinking about starting my own flower farm. What does that really look like? Well, 2 of these folks I do know. One is a friend of a friend. So one of them I responded back to an email and I was just like, here's what a typical day is, about how many hours I spend. And the response I got was, oh, wow, okay. And I was like, oh, this is an interesting response. And so it just made me think about folks who might be looking for information about being a flower farmer and what that truly looks like. So I'm going to run through what a typical day looks like for me, some of the things I do, and I think, again, it's my perspective, but I think if you take in different perspectives, you make a much better educated decision. So if you're here for that information, I have been flower farming for about 4.5 years. I am in my 50s. I work full-time off farm. I am married to Mr. Daydream, who also works full-time, and we do not have any children at home. We are definitely empty nesters. Kids are grown and gone, and we have grandkids. So that being said, my time may look a little bit different than your time. So here's what I'm going to tell you. First and foremost, before you even start flower farming, go set you a budget. That's my financial literacy platform. My mantra is I will never risk my financial security over a zinnia. So go set you a budget. Number 2, go find out what your economic landscape is. Who is your ideal customer? How are you going to market to them? And what are their spending habits? Because you don't want to be that person that puts together a bouquet and then says, oh, how much should I sell this for? We don't know. We don't live in your area. I don't know how much that seed cost you. Don't know how long it took you to grow it. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. That's for you to go figure out. You need to figure that out up front so you know how much you want to sell your product for. I don't know if people in your area can afford a $50 bouquet that has 15 stems. I don't know that. You have to figure that out. So go do some homework on that, okay? Other piece of advice. It doesn't cost a whole lot to start flower farming, y'all. You need some dirt and some seed. You don't need 10 acres of land. I mean, is it nice to have lights and shelving and heat mats and weed barrier? Absolutely it is. Is it necessary? No. You start where you can start. That's the other piece of it. Start where you can start. People grow in their front yards, their backyards, their mama's yard. There are a bunch of different opportunities there. So don't let that deter you. Now, the next thing you got to do is you got to set up your business structure. So make sure you understand the difference between an LLC, incorporated, an S Corp. You got to get your federal ID number. There's a whole bunch of pieces that you need to get so you can legitimize your business, okay? Now, you've done all of that. So what does it really look like to be a flower farmer? All right, I'm going to tell you what my typical day looks like. Now, couple of things you need to know is I work a hybrid model. So which means I work 1 week at home and 1 week on site. And sometimes I have business travel in there. So the weeks that I have to go on site, everything just gets started an hour earlier and ends about 2 hours, 3 hours later. That's what you need to know. All right, a typical morning for me is I'm up about 4:30 in the morning. I grab a cup of coffee. I read my news because I just want to scroll through. I don't want to hear anybody's voice that early. I just scroll through it. I read what I want to read. And then I do jump on social media. I go look at comments. I respond. I go support some other flower farmers. And then I will do a gratitude moment. And so that just sets me spiritually in a good space. I'm outside, it's by 6 o'clock. Sometimes that's in the dark. It just depends. Maybe with a flashlight. But I know if I get out there at 6, I have 1 hour I can spend outside. So in that 1 hour, I need to water seedlings, I usually do an Instagram post, a story. And then I also am looking for bugs, looking at fungus, if there's any fungus working, because we are extremely humid here and that's a problem. I may even have to be cutting that early because I need flowers to be conditioned for the next day. So at 7 o'clock, I am back indoors. I do a quick workout, a strength training workout, because over 50, you start to lose muscle mass, and flower farming is extremely physical. First time you've got to lug several bags of compost somewhere that is wet manure, yeah, you realize how weak as a kitten you really are. So I do that. That is a priority for me. It is how I maintain my health, both physical and mental. So as soon as I'm done with that, I am dressed. I got to get dressed very quickly, and I am logged onto my work computer. So I hit the ground running with it. Lunchtime, I am outside again on my lunch hour eating, and sometimes I'm starting seeds. That has happened. Or I'm finishing my walk to check for bugs on my plants. Whatever it is, I'm doing it within that hour. I'm back inside, 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm finished. I'm back outside again, because there is always something to do. Weeding will happen every day. I mean, I could spend hours a day weeding. So working on it, and then I try to come back inside and get supper started. Thankfully, Mr. Daydream is super self-sufficient, and if I just to say, hey, it's sandwich night, he'll come in and grab him a sandwich, or he'll come in and cook. I mean, we share that. We don't order food out here, so DoorDash or pizza delivery is not an option for us. We decided several years ago, due to some health issues, that we were not eating processed foods anymore, so we cook everything, all the way from our bread to everything. Like, we make our own food. So we eat home every night. So yeah, ordering food is not a luxury for us. Anyway, so we just work around it. We've learned how to work around it. Then on Saturday and Sundays, those look a little bit different. So Saturdays, I still get up, I do everything. I don't do my workout, and I do not get outside by 6 here, because Saturday is house day. It is the day that I am cleaning house. So that's my clean the bathrooms, water the house plants, sweep, mop, vacuum, dust, all the fun stuff. Normally while I'm doing that, Mr. Daydream's cooking us a big breakfast, so that if we eat a big breakfast, we won't come back in for lunch. And then we'll eat, and we're back out. We try to get outside by 10. So Saturdays are also the days for us to do things around the house outside. So that may be cutting grass, pulling weeds, all that house maintenance stuff that has to be done outside. And it's also working out on the flower farm. So for Mr. Daydream right now, it's working on the high tunnel. And for me, it is in the flower field itself, or in the stem shed starting seeds. So Sundays, if it's during subscription time, I'm out the door by about 6:45 to go make my deliveries, so that I can be home by about 9:30. Mr. Daydream usually will have breakfast ready by the time I get home, and it's also laundry day, so he's already started on laundry, which he'll handle on Sundays. So we just make it work. Then we're outside all day until 5 o'clock. On Sundays, I do try to come in by 5 because I want to start supper. I'm ready to take a bath and decompress, because I have a full week of work ahead of me. It's also when I look at my calendar for the week to see if I have any events that I need flowers for, if anybody has rented the flower bar stuff, if I have any buckets of blooms that need to be cut. So all of that's kind of done on that Sunday evening to prep me for the week. It's also, if I can squeeze out the time, that's where I go try to meal prep my lunches. And I meal plan for the rest of the week. So that kind of helps for dinner time. That's what my week looks like for the farm. Now, that's outside stuff. Inside stuff is a little bit different. So inside, still need to carve out time to do my books. So all that accounting pieces, I have to stay on top of that. Ordering seeds, looking at my succession planting, what needs to be next, looking ahead as to what I am planting for the fall, for fall blooms versus cool season. Same thing in the spring. I have a spreadsheet that I've been tweaking for about 4 years now that I think I finally have gotten it to where I want. But then I also have a lot of notes, because if I start a new variety, if I decided I'm going to try a new variety, I go and look at that to see if I am going to use them again. Ordering seeds, ordering supplies, answering inquiries. So updating my website. I do a quarterly newsletter. I will do an email blast out to my email subscribers when it's time for subscriptions, because I usually sell those out there first before I very seldom even put those on social media. What else? Social media in itself. My goal this year has been to grow my local clients, my customers. I think it's wonderful to have a lot of followers on social media, because you can monetize your social media after you reach so many viewers, or so many people who follow you, whatever. But I need 50 good people here in my town who's going to buy from me regularly. That's where my true money's coming from. So I have made it a commitment to this year to really working on building up my local followers. So a little bit slower going, but I am seeing a gain there. But it just takes time. Like everything else, that takes time. Look, even figuring out like what works, what's not working, what do I have to do this week in general, because I am a list maker. Here's the other thing. If you're doing farmers markets, like making sure you're planned out for it. I mean, there's a whole lot of planning that goes on. So that's the other inside part of the job, is like what I like to call it, is inside work. So if I was being honest, that's probably about another 7 to 10 hours a week that I spend doing it. So truthfully, it's like working 2 full-time jobs right now. 40 hours on the farm, 40 hours at my corporate job. And that's the reality of it. And I know I'm missing some things, and I know folks on here who are flower farmers that are watching can add to this list. But I mean, that's the reality of it. So, I don't want to discourage you, because if this is something you are passionate about, you need to go for it. Absolutely go for it. Just think through some of these things. If you have small children, are you working around while they're napping, or they're school-age children? What are you doing while they're in school? Can you outsource somebody cutting your grass or weed eating around your beds, or do you order the food that comes every month to you so you don't have to go to the grocery store and that? Because that's a whole nother situation, right? Like thinking through those things, because it is going to take time, especially in the beginning. You are going to spend a lot of time doing things and redoing things, because it's going to be a learning curve. That's another place I spend a lot of time, is in continuing education. I mean, there's always a different bug I need to figure out how I'm going to treat. Now I've got this learning curve about this high tunnel we're putting up. I got to go figure out how I'm growing in it. There's a lot to be said about continuing education. I think I've done every course that Lisa Mason Ziegler has offered, hands down. Spending some time talking to other flower farmers. I mean, there's just, it's a lot. There are a lot of moving pieces. And so what you see on Instagram with all those beautiful flowers, yeah, that's part of the reality, but it's not the majority of the reality. It's a lot of hard work, and it's hot, and it can be cold. It's rainy, it's blisters, it's ant bites, it's mosquitoes. I mean, it's in the elements. So I don't want to sugarcoat it, and I don't want it to appear that I'm being discouraging. I just want you to know the things that I've experienced. But it has not deterred me from sitting here thinking about what I'm doing for the fall. I'm excited for the fall. I've actually signed up to do something else for another revenue stream that as soon as I can get all of that hashed out, I'm going to share it. So if this is what you're passionate about, then by all means follow your passions. So enough today. I've got to get supper cooked, and hopefully we'll have leftovers for tomorrow. So I hope all of you have a wonderful week. I hope you have an amazing rose season, and I hope to see you as a flower farmer. So till we meet again, my friends, let's go turn all of our daydreams into a reality.